Hello, I'm State Representative Nan Baker from the 16th House District. Welcome to Ohio in Focus.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Ohio in Focus, a program that brings state government to you. I'm your host, Brad Miller. Today we have with us State Representative Nan Baker, who serves the 16th House District, which includes Bay Village, Fairview Park, North Olmsted, Rocky River, and Westlake. Representative, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So you are in your second term in the Ohio House.
Yes. I was elected. This is my second term. I am finishing my fourth year. And it has been a very interesting and very worthwhile effort since I've been here.
Yes, it most certainly has. What are some of the influences that got you to get involved in public service?
Well, I come from a small business background. My husband and I have a business. We're 33 years. It's hard to believe that time has passed. And the former state representative, Sally Conway Kilbane, and also Jim Petro were before me in serving in this Ohio House seat. And Sally encouraged me to run, and as a small business owner, I thought that it would be good to have representation for small businesses across Ohio. I also served on school board for 4 years and city council for 9 years. But really, I think the most important piece that I bring to the Ohio House is understanding what small businesses need, what excessive mandates and taxes and regulations do, in what it is that they do best, and that is creating and jobs and expanding and doing what they do best of being successful in business.
So we often hear about the importance of legislators having private sector experience, and you have greater than 30 years of that experience, so that certainly plays into this. And do you notice that other members of the House kind of bring their own experiences also? I
do. You know, when I first came to the House, I think that when we emphasized small business and the importance, which we now realize 70 to 80% of the businesses in Ohio are small business. So we need to really understand the importance of that, and that they truly are the job creators, the innovators, those that are the backbone of Ohio. So bringing that to the forefront, at the beginning it seemed like it wasn't always at the top of the radar, but in the last year or year and a half, it has really become what it is we all understand to be the most important. You know, creating an environment for jobs is going to pay for all the services that Ohioans need. People who work contribute. So broadening that tax base by bringing more businesses into the loop, lowering the rates is really what it's about here in Ohio to be successful and sustainable.
Sometimes we hear the phrase, government should run more like business. What do you think people mean when they say that?
Well, I think they just want to make sure that business understands that it's not a black hole, that taxpayer dollars are dollars that we really need to make sure are appropriately used. They trust us with those dollars, and as businesses value the dollar because that's what it is that keeps them going, is being able to manage their funds, that government too should be just as accountable for that. And I believe, again, as you have business owners involved in the process, they're always thinking about, are we duplicating services? Is there waste? Is there a better way? Can we get better collaboration with the parties that are already there? Those are the thought processes that businesses go through every day. And to bring that to the Ohio House, I think is valuable, and I think that's what people mean by running like a business.
So you represent the 16th House District.
Mm-hmm.
The Ohio Constitution requires that all House districts have equal representation, equal number of citizens. So sometimes a district will have to span multiple counties, but other times, such as your district,
Right.
it represents a portion of one county.
Right.
Does that present any advantages or problems?
Well, I think it's an advantage for me. We have 5 cities. They're very concentrated. For the most part, they have the same needs and desires, and I think that I represent what it is that they want me to represent here at the Ohio House. As I continue to say, it's all about jobs, and I think that if you were to ask them what is most important on their list, it is making sure that they are working, that their wife, if she wants to work, can work, that their kids can find jobs, they don't have to leave the state, that they are promoted, and that they can do their best and be compensated for it. It really is an issue that in our district is probably number one. They haven't been hit by the recession as much as most, but they certainly have been hurt, as everyone has, when it comes to trying to advance and provide for their families.
So you've sponsored and you've worked on a number of job-creating legislation and bills, and we can see by your pin there.
Right, it's all about jobs, that's right.
And we will get into some of those bills more specifically later on, but first we're moving into we're well into the second half of the General Assembly now.
Yes.
Can you kind of give some perspective and background of what we've done so far here?
Well, I think we have made some historic changes of things that we will be talking about 10, 15, 20 years from now. What did the General Assembly and the 129th General Assembly do? It is remarkable, really, when you think about filling an $8 billion budget gap without raising taxes. That took a very concentrated and deliberate conversation and debating about what it is we can do to try and not tax our taxpayers, but also provide the services that are needed out there. And so we asked all of our partners, our cities, our schools, our hospitals, our nursing homes, food banks, anyone who is receiving state dollars to take a very hard look at their budgets and tighten, just as every family and business has done. And that was very difficult, but it was needed. And we needed to turn the corner here in Ohio, and we have. And filling that budget deficit, we are now past that. I believe it also created an environment where businesses are looking to us to say, hey, I think they know what they're doing there at the Ohio House, and taking those risks as risk takers are as entrepreneurs. We are starting to see an uptick in revenue and job creation. We have now been told that we are the #1 job creator in the Midwest. That just happened. We are number 5 across the entire country. And Standard & Poor's, along with Moody's, gave us the stable rating coming from, I think it was financial distress. So we have certainly made a mark here at the Ohio House in trying to change the culture and environment of what it takes to be successful and sustainable for businesses to consider coming here, expanding here, and keeping those jobs that are already here.
One piece of legislation that's economic in nature that you've been actively working on for the past year or so is House Bill 18, which deals with vacant properties tax credits. What can you tell us about that?
Well, House Bill 18, and by the number, we're at 500 and something. House Bill 18 has been a bill that I've been working on for a while. And with the reorganization of the Department of Development, it took some time to reach the right people to make sure that we had enough buy-in to move this bill forward. And one thing I have learned, which, different from business, it does take a process to get things done. I'm thankful to say that House Bill 18 is ready for the governor's signing, and we just talked about that. So within the next 10 to 15 days, we hope to have this bill signed. But it is giving a business that has run out of space. It could be as small as perhaps a hairdresser or a hardware store that has 10 employees. And if they decide that they'd like to expand and they're out of space, and they hired 50% more of their payroll, so if they had 10 employees and hired 5 more, we are asking them to consider a vacant building. And for all the vacant buildings and abandoned buildings that are out there over this recession, we thought it would be a good idea that we come up with a reasonable incentive that would give that business owner a choice of going into something that perhaps he wouldn't have considered before. And this $500 incentive is given to every newly created job, so it's only jobs that we're not collecting from now, and it's given to the owner who's taking the risk to go into those vacant buildings, and that money can only be used to fix up the building. So it was well received by the Ways and Means Committee. It was unanimous in that committee for support. In the Ohio House, it passed by 82 votes, and then it was unanimous in the Senate Ways and Means, and it was unanimous by the Senate Chamber. So we are very pleased that this is on a course where we are looking for the governor to sign it in the next 10 days or so.
We'll certainly be looking forward to that. From House Bill 18, we move ahead in time quite a ways to House Bill 488.
Shows you the numbers, right?
What can you tell us about that?
I'm very proud to be a sponsor of House Bill 488, along with Representative Slaby, who has now been appointed elsewhere. But he was a good resource at the beginning when we were putting this bill together in understanding how the court system works and how we can get this bill supported. And we just had testimony again today in criminal justice, and it is giving the Rape Crisis Center a pot of $100 to be paid for by the sexual assault criminal who's been convicted, to pay that extra $100, which would go back to the victim of sexual assault. And we run the numbers with the Legislative Service Commission to make sure that there's enough there and not overstating what we think we can collect. But it has been a good bill that is being debated right now, has gotten a lot of publicity. I'm really proud to be a sponsor to help those victims out there, and the Rape Crisis Center, especially here in Cleveland, has done a great job in helping, and they want to expand those services to those counties that don't have the resources that we have here. So it is a bill that we look forward to, and right now a companion bill is being run in the Senate to try to move this bill along, and I again look for passage.
So we'll look forward to both those bills as they move along.
Yes.
What else can we be looking forward to in this General Assembly in the coming weeks?
Well, you know, my focus for as long as I'm there is always going to be to create an environment for jobs. I also serve on the Education Committee, and there certainly is a lot of talk about the Cleveland Plan. It has been debated close to my district, and I hope that we can move forward to do the improvements that everyone feels are needed to help those students that go to the Cleveland schools. So that is something right in front of the radar that we are going to be addressing. I also serve on Ways and Means, and there's a lot of going on with the midterm budget right now. So we're reviewing that, and today at the Ohio House we'll be voting on quite a lengthy group of legislation. So there's a lot of activity here. I chair the Economic and Small Business Development Committee, and we are actively involved in the workforce development piece. So we are working with the administration to help them along in any legislation that they need to help those that are out there that are either displaced, or even trying to help those that may not be college bound but need to have skills in order to be able to be employable. So there's a lot going on in the home front.
We have just a couple minutes left, but I wanted to get to this. You said you chair the Economic and Small Business Development Committee.
Yes.
The word committee can sometimes make people run for the hills. It's not always the most exciting topic.
Right,
but
right.
As I understand, sometimes you have your committee visit area businesses.
Yes, yes, and you know, it's an exciting committee for us because the members that are there are all members that want to be part of trying to create a better environment here in Ohio. Most of them are related to small business or are affiliated somehow, have small family businesses. They really do have a desire to want to dig in and try to do what they can do. And so I encourage our members, and they have gone to their district and visited their own hometown businesses, trying to bring back some information to us and share with us what it is they've learned. We've also visited as a committee Cincy Tech and Tech Columbus, and even in my hometown, Team Neo, trying to understand what they're doing as part of the Jobs Ohio initiative. So our committee is really very exciting, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and I think our members are too.
Sounds like you've definitely been busy and will be busy in the future. Representative, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of Ohio in Focus, the program that brings state government to you. Thank you for joining us.